Hey everyone, and welcome back to OptimizEvony. Today we'll be talking about a topic that I get asked about a ton, and that is assistant generals. So assistant generals was a feature that recently came out that allows for an assistant general to come along with or march with your main general when they're fighting. So, for example, here I have William Marshall as my main defense general, and I'm able to bring along an assistant general here, and those buffs and stuff will carry over. But let's actually get into what actually gets carried over and what doesn't count. So one of the main things that people don't understand is what actually is the assistant general useful. So for example, the skills, all of these skills that you see here, and all of these skills here, all of those are going to count. But what isn't going to count are the base stats. So like these leadership, attack, defense, politics, none of this is going to matter. And so that's why you can see I don't even have this general's 5-starred, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect anything in the battle. The other thing is gear does not affect it. So I can open this up, and I guess I will. I'll open this up, and this general will essentially be naked. There's not going to be any gear on it, because the gear doesn't affect anything. Yeah, so you can see no gear here, not even the top level for what I'm doing, but that doesn't matter either. So the other thing that I guess the main thing that you're going to look for when you're looking for an assistant general is that, as you can see here, all of these skills are not grayed out. So all of these skills are going to apply, which means that the main skill applies here, and then all of the different skills that the assistant has. This is set up for defense, so I have kind of defensive geared skills on it. But yeah, so all of these buffs will work, all of the skill books will work, but like I said, the base stats won't count. Any dragons will not count. No, none of those buffs, none of the base stats that you get from the dragon, and ascension doesn't count. So if I had this guy at 10 stars fully awakened, it would not make a difference. It would be the exact same as the one that I have right here, because at least right now, and Evony might change this, but at least right now, ascension, it doesn't count towards the buffs that you get from your assistant. So let's kind of go through and talk about some of the different things that you're going to be looking for. And for this, let's actually not go for the wall gen. It's a little bit easier to do some of the other generals. So let's just find something here, and let's take a look at some of the combinations. So for example, this is kind of the way that you're going to check, is you're going to click on this magnifying glass to see that, okay, like all of these skills are not grayed out. Specialties also count. So this is essentially going to double the amount of specialties that you're going to need to do, because to have a fully spec'd out setup, you're going to want full specialties on your main general and also on your assistant. So let's actually look into a combo that doesn't work, and this is actually a combo that I'm using, and I'll explain why I'm using this. But yeah, I have Elise. I have two ascensions on him, on her, and some specialties done, but definitely not maxed. And I'm using Scipio as the assistant general, and you can actually see here that this skill itself is grayed out. So, and it'll pop up this thing that says this skill is the same as the main general skill, and then I'll list the skill, and so it won't take effect. So that means that this skill doesn't count. And so you might be wondering why I would ever consider actually using this as an assistant general if the main skill isn't going to work, because I can put these skill books on anyone and it's going to be the exact same, and that's because of the specialties. Obviously I have the specialties maxed on Scipio, but briefly before the assistant generals came out, I switched to Elise, because Elise has slightly better stats, and also I had multiple copies of her, so I could ascend her, where Scipio I didn't have any extra copies of, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult to ascend. Elise is also more powerful when you fully ascend her than Scipio, and that's kind of mostly because of some of the ascension that they gave to Scipio compared to Elise. But yeah, so you can see, because I have this max spec, this is giving me a lot of buffs here that otherwise I wouldn't be getting. And so if I put a different general here, so for example, I could put a different general here, and one of the common ground assistant generals is actually Trajan, and he's available for free. Some people have built him up before, and so you can see that his skill actually does apply. So I would get an extra 15% ground attack and defense and ground troop HP always, and then of course I would switch around some of these skills because they're the same that I have on Elise. But because I don't have any specialties unlocked, Scipio is actually a better bet for me. You can just test this out by attacking a dead city on your server or something like that, checking your buffs with different pairings just to see what kind of is targeting there, and which combo gives you the better buffs. So yeah, so you're aiming for all of your skills to be not grayed out to give you the best effect, unless you have a very specific case like I just talked about, and then anything that has a specialty unlocked is gonna help you out, as long as its buffs are what you're looking for. So yeah, that's kind of the main things. I'll talk a little bit about some of the combinations of skills that you're going to be using, because a lot of them are going to kind of be the same. So let's take an archer general for example. You're going to have range troop range bonus, range troop defense, range troop HP, and it doesn't much matter who you put these things on, except for if it cancels out a different skill. Range troop attack, march size is always a good non-troop skill book, because being able to send more troops to attack someone is always better. And then the last one's kind of a free-for-all. There's not any other things that are going to really benefit the buffs of the troops, and this might change a little bit as Evony seems to be going to roll out debuff skill books. So you might want to have like a mix of buff and debuff skill books, but as of right now, there's no more buffs that I can apply to this pairing for archer generals to actually have an effect. And so I just do march speed. March speed is important for me, saves on march speed ups, gets you into those rallies faster, and yeah, it's a good kind of pairing for any attack general. And so for any actual attack general, you'll have basically 4 skills that you can pick that are going to be buffs, and that's going to be your specific troop attack, specific troop defense, specific troop HP, and then one additional kind of range bonus or speed bonus. So for siege and for range, you get a troop range bonus. For ground and for mounts, you'll get a troop speed bonus. And basically, these do kind of similar things. It basically gets you into be able to attack faster. So troop range bonus will obviously, as it kind of makes sense, it will extend that range so that you can fire on the enemy faster in the battle. And then the troop speed, let's actually get to that. Let's just take a look at the pairing that I happen to have for my mount gen. This one has the mount troop speed, and so this will basically increase the speed of your mount in the battle. It doesn't change anything outside the battle. It doesn't make your troops go faster to or from bosses or elsewhere on the map. This is only inside of the battle, and it basically allows your troops to get to the enemy troops faster. And so for mount troops, the mount and ground troops, you don't have an attack range. You basically have to be right next to someone to attack it. And so there's a couple rounds of the battle that your mount and your ground are not going to actually be able to attack anything, because they're not close enough to the enemy to actually attack them. And so they're getting attacked, but they're not able to attack back. And so these troop speed bonuses actually help to get your troops into attack range faster, so that they don't die quite as easily and you're able to kill more enemy troops. So each kind of troop type will have, like I said, 4 buffs, and that'll be attack, defense, HP, and then either the troop speed or the troop range bonus. And then you'll have kind of those other 2 options that I talked about. Your march speed. Some people on a mount gen might opt for monster attacks or something like that, and then your march side skill book. But that's pretty much the standard skill book that you'll have for any attacking general, are kind of those 4 main buffs, and then your march size, your march speed, and yeah, so that's kind of what I would recommend for everyone, every attacking gen at the moment. Let's go back and actually look at the wall gen and what kind of skills I had put on there. These are not necessarily the best skills. I'm not claiming that they are, but I'll kind of talk through why I put them on there. And so I have siege machine attack, range troop range, and siege range. Siege range is important. Your siege, you want your siege to be attacking the enemy as soon as possible, and getting extra rounds in. Range troop range, you want your range to be able to attack the enemy sooner. And then siege attack, I like siege for defending, because it has the highest range, and it can kind of whittle down the defenses of the enemy before they get close enough for kind of your main melee troops to battle. And then I have ground troop speed to get your ground troops into the battle faster. And this is mostly to try and defend against ranged troops a little bit. Ranged troops are so powerful in attack, and particularly for rallies, it's very overpowered right now. And so trying to get a little bit more effectiveness out of your ground. Is, you know, I'm trying to add a little bit of ground troop speed there. Some people will say that that's not really effective, or, you know, it's not worth it, but I'm trying it out. We'll see how it goes. And then mountain troop HP. This is mostly for solos to, you know, try and keep my mountain troop alive, and then kind of siege HP as well. And this is mostly to defend against siege rallies. It seems like siege rallies are not happening quite as much anymore, at least for someone of my size, just because people are being able to one tap or one rally someone of my size, and not have to do a siege rally first to kind of open up their defenses and make them a little bit squishier. So I might change this off, but for now, for a while, you know, siege was kind of destroying me, and so I put the siege machine HP on there. But yeah, that's kind of the main stuff that I wanted to talk about. There is one more thing that I wanted to talk about, with regards to kind of the skills. And so let's find an example of this. So basically, you saw how your skills could be grayed out, and so sometimes you might think that a combination doesn't work when it actually does. And so I'll just show kind of an example here that I know of, that doesn't work. So I have Scipio here as the main, ground troop HP, march size, march speed. If he was my main general, I would probably switch some of these around, just in case the assistant didn't come along with it. But you can see here where this one was actually lit up before for Elise. This one is not lit up for Scipio, and that's not because these don't work. These actually do work, but you can see this pops up that it's actually the ground troop HP skill on Scipio that's preventing this from working. And so basically, if you take this ground troop HP skill off and put ground troop attack, ground troop defense, whatever you want there, and have the ground troop HP come on this one will then activate again. So just a reminder to take a look at what this is saying. It's not necessarily meaning that those assistant generals don't work together. It might just be that you have to rearrange some of the skills. I know I had to do this for the ground gens, and I think I had to do this for the archer gens as well. I originally had archer attack here, but with Winfield Scott, this skill was not active when the range troop attack was on Alfred, and so I had to basically take it off of there and move it here, and now everything works. I get the full buffs and everything like that. So yeah, just something to keep in mind there. I'll probably be going through some of the combinations that I think are really good combinations. There's so many generals out there now, and a lot of them don't work. But there's I'll go kind of through what some of the combinations that I think are some of the best in the game, at least that I either have access to or that I've seen that work really well together. I'll do that in probably a follow-up video. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions, or if you have questions on a specific pairing or specific skills or anything like that. But yeah, otherwise, hope you liked the video. Again, please like and subscribe, helps me out a ton. And I'll see you in the next video.